Imagine this. It's been over 30 years since we last saw Edward and Vivian, and now, after all this time, they're back. The dynamic duo that gave us one of the most iconic love stories of all time is finally reuniting on screen. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are coming together once again for Pretty Woman 2, and trust us, it's going to be everything we've been waiting for. The original Pretty Woman movie, released in 1990, became an instant classic, capturing the hearts of audiences around the world. The story of a charming businessman, Edward Lewis, and a street-smart woman, Vivian Ward, transcended the typical romantic comedy, offering viewers a story of love, transformation, and overcoming obstacles. Julia Roberts, playing Vivian, and Richard Gere, portraying Edward, shared an undeniable chemistry that made their characters' journey unforgettable. Fans across generations have watched the film time and time again, hoping to see where their beloved characters would be today. Now, decades later, the dream that fans never thought possible is becoming a reality. Pretty Woman 2 is officially in the works, and the announcement has sent waves of excitement across the internet. Why is this such a huge deal? Because, after all these years, we finally get to see what's next for Vivian and Edward. Are they still together? What have their lives been like since we last saw them? And most importantly, how will the magic that made the first movie so special carry over into the sequel? There's something truly magical about the reunion of these iconic actors. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere aren't just reprising their roles. They're bringing back the heart and soul of Pretty Woman, a film that defined an entire generation of moviegoers. The magic between them on screen wasn't just about romance, it was about connection, growth, and the idea that love can overcome anything. No matter how difficult life gets. As soon as the announcement dropped, the world collectively held its breath. The chemistry between Roberts and Gere is still as powerful as ever, and the fact that they're returning to their iconic roles has fans dreaming about what's to come. After all, how often do we get the chance to see two legends return to a project that meant so much to them and to audiences around the world? Now that we know Pretty Woman 2 is happening, the real question is, what will the sequel bring? Will it capture the same charm, wit, and heart that made the original a massive success? Or will it chart a new course for these beloved characters? It's a thrilling moment in cinematic history, and fans are on the edge of their seats, ready to find out. There are few films that have left a mark on pop culture as deeply as Pretty Woman. The movie hit theaters in 1990, and from the moment it began, it had audiences hooked. But it wasn't just the plot that resonated, it was the pure magic between Julia Roberts and Richard Gere that made this film unforgettable. The chemistry they shared felt real, raw, and effortless. Edward and Vivian weren't just characters in a story. They were the people who made us believe in love at first sight, and the idea that no matter where you start in life, you can always rewrite your story. Pretty Woman wasn't the typical rags to riches tale. Sure, it had elements of that. Vivian, a woman with a troubled past, finds herself in the lap of luxury when she meets Edward, a wealthy businessman. But what set the movie apart was how it explored the humanity behind their relationship. Edward wasn't your typical Prince Charming figure, and Vivian wasn't just a damsel in distress. They both had their flaws, their insecurities, and their baggage, making their love story feel grounded in reality. One of the most memorable scenes in the movie is when Edward comes back to rescue Vivian after she's had a difficult time. In that moment, the tables are turned. Vivian has learned her worth, and Edward sees her in a new light, no longer just the woman he hired, but someone he's genuinely fallen for. It's a scene that captures the transformation of both characters and the evolution of their relationship. The moment when Edward climbs the stairs of Vivian's apartment with flowers in hand, ready to sweep her off her feet, is iconic for a reason. It's romantic, yes, but it's also about how both characters have grown and found strength in each other. And let's not forget the unforgettable soundtrack. Pretty Woman wasn't just a visual experience, it was also an auditory one, with tracks like Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison setting the tone for every step of Vivian's journey. The music amplified the emotions, the moments of joy and heartache, making us feel like we were right there with them. But what made this movie endure for so long was its relatability. The story wasn't just about two people falling in love. It was about overcoming obstacles, breaking free from past mistakes, and finding someone who sees you for who you truly are. In many ways, Pretty Woman wasn't just a movie, it was a mirror reflecting the hopes and dreams of millions. Fans saw parts of themselves in Vivian and Edward, and that's what made their love story so powerful. As we look back on the original film, it's clear why it became such a cultural touchstone. The combination of humor, romance, and emotional depth made Pretty Woman much more than just another rom-com. It became a blueprint for love stories to come. And now, with the sequel on the horizon, fans are left wondering, What happens next for these two unforgettable characters? What new chapters will be written in their love story? It's one of those rare moments in Hollywood history when a dream that seemed impossible finally becomes a reality. Fans had long fantasized about it Pretty Woman 2, but no one truly believed it would happen. The possibility of seeing Edward and Vivian once again, after decades of speculation and hope, was nothing more than a fantasy for many. But then, the news dropped. Suddenly, the impossible was happening. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, the legendary stars who brought Vivian and Edward to life so many years ago, are coming back for Pretty Woman 2. After all the years of waiting, of wondering what happened to their characters, it's finally happening. The reunion of the century. It's not just another sequel. This is the continuation of a love story that captured the hearts of millions around the world. The idea of seeing Vivian and Edward in the present day, after all these years, opens up endless possibilities. What has life been like for them? Have they managed to stay together? What challenges have they faced? The questions are endless, and the excitement is palpable. The Pretty Woman movie wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural phenomenon. It became more than a film. It was a symbol of hope, transformation, and love. And now, decades later, fans are being invited back into that world, into the magic that made them fall in love with these characters in the first place. But this isn't just about reliving the past. It's about seeing how these beloved characters have grown and evolved. The announcement wasn't just a casual press release. It was an event in itself. Social media exploded with excitement. Fans flooded platforms with reactions, eager to express their joy, nostalgia, and anticipation. Everyone had questions. What will Pretty Woman 2 look like? Will they still have the same magic? Can the sequel live up to the legacy of the original? It's the kind of moment that makes us stop and remember how special these characters are. It's not every day that a movie from the past resurfaces in such a powerful way. Pretty Woman 2 isn't just another sequel, it's the resurrection of a love story that has remained in our hearts for more than 3 decades. But as the excitement builds, so does the curiosity. How will the filmmakers balance nostalgia with fresh, new content? Will the story continue the journey of Vivian and Edward, or will it explore new themes? There's a lot we don't know. But one thing's for sure, Pretty Woman 2 is a moment in cinema that can't be ignored. And for the fans who've been waiting, this announcement is nothing short of a dream come true. While the tales about Pretty Woman 2 are still somewhat under wraps, the excitement is already building to a fever pitch. What could possibly come next for Edward and Vivian? How will their story evolve after all these years? These are the burning questions that have fans buzzing. Sure, we don't have every answer yet, but there are hints and clues that are slowly emerging, and each one fuels the fire of anticipation. Let's start with what we do know. We know that both Julia Roberts and Richard Gere will reprise their iconic roles, and that alone is enough to send waves of excitement through fans worldwide. But as for the story itself, the details are still a bit of a mystery. Will it pick up right where the first film left off? Or will time have passed? Could we be seeing a more mature Edward and Vivian, perhaps with new challenges, new joys, or even new hurdles to face? One thing that seems likely is that the movie will bring us up to speed on where these two characters are now. After all, it's been over 30 years since we last saw them, and both actors have aged like fine wine. Could Edward and Vivian have started a family? Are they still running in the same social circles, or have their lives taken a different direction? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes the sequel so exciting. Many fans have speculated about the plot. Will Vivian and Edward's love be tested by the realities of time? Or perhaps the story will introduce a new chapter in their journey, one that challenges their relationship, yet ultimately deepens it. Could Vivian have her own business now, a career path of her own choosing, no longer dependent on Edward? Could Edward, now perhaps less focused on his high-powered career, be grappling with his own changes,